Hi, welcome to Abbet and Zeth YouTube channel. This is Ma'am Nance Biswas, the top 9 of the SPLE 2024. And today we have prepared for you a free GenEd English review, and this is brought to you by Abbet and Zeth YouTube channel. All right, so let's get started. I will give you some preparation tips before anything else. So I hope that you will be one with your vision to achieve what you want to achieve, and ask God to help you. I'm not sure if some of you here are watching while preparing for their March 2025 exam. So, this is a good tip for you. Even now, you have to be one with your vision to achieve what you want. All right. So, if you want to be a top notcher, act like a top notcher. If this is your nth time to take the exam because in the past you were not able to really prepare well, now this time your goal is to be a passer and to have good preparation. So, be one with your vision to achieve what you want to achieve. Act like you are a pastor and be diligent in your preparations. And without God, it is impossible. But with God, everything is possible. So humbly ask God to help you, and He will exalt you in due time. All right. Number two tip is find a study buddy or study buddies with the same vision as yours. So I am thankful that I was able to find study buddies during the past seasons I prepared for the licensure exam. um, of course, medyo special si Ma'am Zeth and Ma'am Tess kasi pare-pareho kaming nag-take ng SPLE. So kami yung magkakasamang nagre-review before weeks before the SPLE, and I'm so grateful for their example of diligence and determination to really pass with flying colors. All right. And number three, you have to be familiar with the table of specifications provided by the Board of Professional Teachers. So I hope that you have read through the TOS, and as you also take the mock exams, I hope that you will track your progress. So this tip is from Ma'am Zeth, the top one of the SPLE 2024, and I'm thankful for that tip. I followed her and I was able to keep track of my progress. Actually, my average sa general education was 85. But in the actual exam, I got 92 by God's grace. So I'm really thankful for that tip of Ma'am Zeth. Now, as I mentioned, you should be familiar with the TOS, and this is the TOS for general education. Have a look. Have a look. Okay. So the Board of Professional Teachers, or BPT, is expecting that you, as a professional teacher, uh, would use the English language with ease in effective communication. So we should know our grammar rules as licensed professional teachers. All right. And we are expected to use the English language confidently for special purposes, specifically academic purposes. All right. Now, uh, for time's sake, let's move on to the directions. I hope that you have a piece of paper and a pen so that you can write down your answers as we go along. And please rejoice when you get the correct answers. But in case you fail to get the correct answer, you will learn from your mistakes and don't commit them on the actual day of exam. All right. And lastly, I hope that you'll enjoy. Just relax. And the more relaxed you are, the better your brain will function. Okay. Take it from me and from those that have already taken the exam. Okay. So here is question number one. Riza is the best artist in her class. What case of noun is used by the underlined noun? Is it A, dative, B, nominative, C, genitive, or D, vocative? Okay, time is up. The answer is letter B, nominative. So let's move on to the cases of nouns. Number one, nominative. Nouns are used as a subject. So in the example, we see that Risa is a good writer. So Risa is a noun, a proper noun, as you know, but it um, functions as a subject. That means the noun is in nominative case. Number two, nouns that are used as direct address are in vocative case. So, for example, Risa, please write faster. Risa is the direct address. That means it is in vocative case. All right. Number three, dative. When nouns are used as indirect object in a sentence, they are in dative case. So, for example, Risa gave a letter to her mother. So, Risa is the subject, gave is the verb, a letter is the direct object or the recipient of the action or answers what of the verb, and mother. Her mother is the indirect object. Indirect object in general is something or someone affected by the action. And number four, genitive. So nouns showing ownership or possession are nouns in genitive case. Example, Riza's driving skill improved a lot. Whose driving skill? Riza's. So Riza's having the apostrophe S is indicating ownership or possession. That means it is in its genitive case. Is it clear? So we have four cases of nouns in this review drill. There are more cases of nouns, but for the sake of this drill, we are only covering four cases of nouns: nominative, used as a subject; vocative; direct address; dative; indirect object; and genitive, showing ownership or possession. All right, question number two. The students fear the blank return of the teacher while they are working on their project. Is it A, imminent, B, eminent, C, imminent, or D, emollient? Okay, imminent, B, eminent, C, imminent, or D, emollient. So we have some sort of a tongue twister here. What is your answer? Mhm. So the answer for this one is letter A. All right. And when THE is before a vowel sound, we usually say the, not the. Okay, so that's the rule. And going back to the topic, imminent is an adjective meaning happening anytime soon or about to happen. So this best fits the blank, right? So it says here the students fear the imminent or um, return of the teacher while they are working on their project. That means that the return can happen anytime soon or it is about to happen. The answer cannot be letter B because eminent means famous or respected within a particular sphere. For example, Hershey's is an eminent choice of chocolate among the children. That means famous or respected within a particular sphere. Letter C, immanent, means in it or built in. So we can say children have the immanent tendency to be creative. That means they have this innate or built in tendency to be creative. It's natural to them. And letter D, emollient. Emollient means having the quality of softening or soothing the skin. So in collocation, we would say emollient cream or emollient moisturizing cream. Okay, so we can eliminate this choice kasi nililito lang kayo among imminent, eminent, immanent. So yung emollient is just a distractor. Okay, so the answer is letter A. Now, question number three. The mother watched her son as he blanked the pain. Is it A, bear, B, born, C, bore, D, bear? Okay. So for this one, you have to analyze the sentence. The answer is letter C. For those of you who chose letter C, you are correct. So the first verb is in the past form, watched. And the action done by the son happened at the same time. Thus, it calls for the past form of the verb. So, dahil pareho sila ng time frame, um, dapat parallel sila sa isa't isa. So, kung yung unang action, nakasabay na ginagawa ng nanay at saka ng anak na lalaki ay pareho ng time. So, dapat parallel lang sila. Pareho ng tense. So, past tense. We cannot use bear kasi present tense siya. And kung yan yung gagamitin natin, dapat may S, 'di ba? Kasi yung nasa clause ay he. So hindi siya pwedeng choice. And by the way, bear has the idea of enduring or carrying something. For example, I bear the pain quietly. Okay? Letter B, born, is the past participle form of bear. And when we are using past participle form of the verb, any verb, we normally use a linking verb. Okay, so we normally say she is born, she was born, right? So we cannot use that choice. And letter D cannot be the choice because it is in present tense and it has the idea of uncovering or revealing. And we are not uncovering the pain. Actually, the son was enduring the pain. All right? Question number 4. Sheila blanked her snack by the time the ferry boat comes. Is it A, finishes, B, finished, C, will finish, or D, will have finished? What is your answer? Okay, so the answer is letter D, will have finished. So when you are given questions related to verb tenses, always check the time expression. Okay, so for this one, the time expression is by the time the school bus comes. And you have to remember that by the time, before, by the time, by, in, plus specific future points are commonly used with the future perfect tense to indicate when the action will be completed. So, example, by noon, by night, before the deadline, by the time I see the dentist, um, in 2 hours. Okay, so laging merong specific future points. Kapag ganito yung time expressions na nakikita nyo, future perfect tense yan. And kapag future perfect tense, ang pattern na ginagamit natin ay will have plus the past participle form of the verb. So in this case, will have plus finished is the best answer. We cannot use finishes because finishes indicates regularity. It is in the present tense. So when you have a present tense, yung time expression na hanapin nyo ay something that indicates regularity or habitual routine or general truth. Okay? So that cannot be your answer. For finished, the time expression you will be looking for is something that happened in the past, like last week, last day, last night. Okay? So, something that happened in the past. So, yun yung mga time expressions. Nahanapin nyo, and will finish is future tense. So, something, yung time expression na gagamitin nyo ay um, indicating future happening. Okay? So, let's move on to question number 4. All right. So, I already gave you the answer. Number 5, rather. Politics is Politics blank is one of the topics we should avoid talking about to keep a peaceful conversation with others. Is it A, are, B, is, C, was, or D, were? What is your answer? I think I gave the answer away. So the answer is letter C. Letter B is. So we have to remember that politics will be tagged as an uncountable noun Now, the rule is that uncountable nouns are not individual objects and cannot be counted. They are usually intangible, they cannot be touched. All right, they are usually concepts, ideas, and they only have a singular form. Now, they cannot be used with an article. So, in this case, we cannot say politics or a mathematics, or a statistics, a music. No, we can't do that. Uh, and uncountable nouns usually require singular verbs, even when they seem to appear as plural nouns. Kahit may S yan, like mathematics, statistics, politics, singular verbs pa rin. So for this one, ang sagot ay letter B is. Okay? Question number 6. If Alice blank a Filipino, she would have a clear childhood memories in the Philippines. Okay, so what is the answer? Is it A was, B am, C where, or D will be? Okay, so as you may have noticed, I'm indicating names related to current events. So you have to be familiar with the current events, not only in the Philippines but across the world. Kasi sa amin, sa time namin, natanong kami about Israel and Gaza. Okay? So, as you may know, mainit yung balita sa Pilipinas about Chinese spies. And even sa US, meron silang Linda Sun or Linda Sun. So, she is allegedly a Chinese spy in the US. It is allegedly believed that she is a Chinese spy in the US. All right, so she is like the counterpart of Alice Guo in the Philippines. Anyway, the answer uh, should be letter C. So this sentence is a complex sentence. It's a conditional sentence, and it is specifically a second conditional sentence. So second conditional sentences represent events that haven't happened and are unlikely or impossible. So alam mo naman natin, impossible na Chinese, na Filipino, si Alice Guo. She's just in denial, right? So remember this rule. When using be in an if clause for an unreal conditional sentence, always conjugate it as where, no matter what the subject is. Even if the subject is first person singular, I, or third person singular, he, she, or it, still use where with an if clause in unreal conditional sentences. I hope that is clear. Kahit nag-iisa si Alice, pero dahil imposible yung kanyang sitwasyon, na siya ay maging Filipino, where yung gagamitin natin, okay? So, let's talk about conditionals. So, merong zero, first, second, and third. So, tandaan lang natin, yung zero conditional is used for scientific facts, general facts, and condition that always has the same result. Okay, so 0 plus 0 is 0. So those are the condition that has always the same result. So the example we have here, sorry, is if you stand in the rain, you get wet. Okay, so let me just fix my computer. And here's another one. If you heat ice, it melts. So it's a scientific fact, right? So for zero conditional, we also have to remember that we use the present simple tense and the another present simple tense. Okay. Next, the first conditional. Okay, so for the first conditional sentence is used for a possible situation in the future. Pwede naman siya mangyari. And it's also used for predicting a likely result in the future if the condition happens. So let's see the example. If it rains, we will cancel the trip. If you study, you will pass the exam. So for this pattern, we use the present tense, the present simple tense, plus the future tense. Okay? So for the if clause, the present tense, and for the main clause, we use the future tense. So that is first conditional. For the second conditional, as I have mentioned, we use this for hypothetical or unlikely situations, unreal or improbable situations now and in the future. So hindi pwedeng maging Filipino ngayon at sa kinabukasan si Alice Guo. She is definitely Chinese. All right? Um, sa example natin, it says, if I won the lottery, I would travel a lot. If they sold their house, they would be rich. So for this second conditional, you have to remember past simple in the if clause, and the main clause would call for the would plus a verb. Okay? And the third conditional sentence is used when the person talking is imagining a different past. When the speaker is also talking about an imaginary situation that did not happen. So it also has the element of regret. Example, if you had studied, you would have passed the exam. If I hadn't been sick, I would have gone to your party. So for this conditional sentence, the if clause would use the past perfect, and the main clause would use the would have plus past participle. All right, is that clear? I hope so. So let's move on to question number 7. How is the pronoun used in the following sentence? Luis cut himself with a razor. Is it A, intensive, B, genitive, C, vocative, or D, reflexive? Answers, please. All right, so if your answer is letter D, you are correct. So letter D, reflexive, is used as the object of the verb form. Diba pag sinabi nating direct object, receiver of the action, answers what of the verb, right? Or preposition to refer to the subject of the sentence. So Luis cut what or who? Himself, right? So it's reflexive pronoun. And let me continue with a razor. So Luis cut himself with a razor. So this is a reflexive pronoun. Now, an intensive pronoun, which is the opposite of reflexive one, is occurs rather directly after the subject for emphasis. For example, the girl herself cooked her food. So we know that it is an intensive pronoun when, even if you remove it, the sentence will still make sense. So let's try removing it. The girl cooked her food. Does it make sense? Yes. But if you want to um, add emphasis, you will use herself. The girl herself cooked her food. Okay, so that is an intensive pronoun. Now let's move on to question number 8. We're almost done. You are teaching an English class about passive voice. Which example sentence will you not choose? Is it A, the test was taken by the students? B, the prime minister was ousted by the citizens? C, the policeman stopped the protesters? Or letter D, the fire was caused by the protesters? All right, I'll give you time. So the answer is letter C. The policeman stopped the protesters because for the passive voice rather, we use the pattern object, verb plus subject. So we use passive voice if the focus is on the action and when the doer is not important or when the doer is unknown. All right? And if you want to focus on the action, as I said. So we have examples here. The house was painted by Anna. So the more important thing is the action. The house was painted. The students' questions are answered by the teacher. So mahalaga na nasagot na yung tanong. And obvious naman kung sino yung sumagot yung teacher, pero hindi na yun importante. So, passive voice yan. The video was posted online by Ali. So, the more important thing is that the video was posted online. So, passive voice yan. So, passive voice, let's remember, it tells us what is done to someone or something, and the subject is being acted upon. All right. Yung active voice naman, in contrast, focuses on the subject, the doer of the action. Okay? So, uh, excuse me. So, the pattern that we use is, excuse me, subject, verb plus object. Kaya yung sagot dito ay letter C kasi this is following the subject, verb, object. The policeman, the subject, stopped is the verb, and the protesters is the object. So, yan yung pattern na sinunod. Kaya hindi nyo siya pwedeng isama kung magtuturo kayo ng passive voice. Alright, question number 9. We're almost done. Which figurative language is used in the following lines? Israel is the apple of God's eyes. Is it A, simile, B, synecdoche, C, oxymoron, or D, metaphor? Okay, so actually, letter D is the answer, metaphor, and this is the most common figurative language used by writers. So, metaphor is the direct comparison, but at the same time, this is also using an idiom, apple of God's eyes. Apple of God's eyes? There's apple? An apple in God's eyes? No. Hindi. Siya ay figurative language na merong figurative meaning, hindi literal meaning. Okay? So for metaphor, we can say, we can use examples like, she's my world. Hindi naman physical world. Like, your life revolves around her. She's your world. Okay? She is the teacher's pet. Teacher's pet is also an idiom. You cannot call a person a pet, right? But it's an idiom meaning the favorite. Okay? And she is my heart. That is a direct comparison. Okay? Simile uses like or as. Those are the keywords that we find when looking for a simile. So when we see the word like or as, we know that it is a simile. For example, her bag is as light as a feather, or she is like the stars in the sky. So those words like use and as indicate that the simile is the figurative language that is being used. All right, letter B is synecdoche. So synecdoche is a figurative language that uses a part of something to represent a whole. For example, he wants her hand for marriage. So is it just the hand that the guy wants for marriage? Of course not. It's the whole being of the woman, but that hand is representing the woman. Okay? It's part of her whole. Give me your heart. If I ask you to give me your heart, will I ask for your physical heart? Of course not. I will ask for your whole being. Okay? Now, let's go to oxymoron. So, oxymoron uses contradicting words like um, sitting beside each other. Deafening silence is an example. Last onset. And my professor would say, bold fear. Matapang na pagkatakot. So, that is an oxymoron. They are contrasting ideas or words beside each other. So let's take a look at some more common types of figurative language. So we've talked about simile, we've talked about metaphor, let's talk about personification. So personification uses human qualities to non-human things. So we have this example, the flame of the candle dance in the dark. Okay? So hindi naman nagda-dance yung flame of the candle. Normally, people will dance, but since it uses human quality or activity, then it is personification. All right. Alliteration uses the same beginning consonant sound in consecutive sentences. Okay, I will not use the example on the picture, but one thing that I remember is Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. So we have the sound. All right, so one after another. So that is alliteration. Okay, now sorry about that again. Um, we have the hyperbole, or some people would say hyperbole. Hyperbole. Um, it uses exaggerated language. So in the example, it says, I'm so hungry, I could eat a horse. People would not eat a horse, but ganun siya kagutom na kaya niyang kumain ng kabayo. Alright? Next is idioms. Um, they are phrases or expressions that have a figurative meaning or different from the literal meaning of the individual words. So nasabi ko na yan kanina. Like the apple of God's eyes. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihing mansanas ng mata ng Diyos, right? Ang ibig sabihin nun, sila ay special sa paningin ng Panginoon, yung Israel. Alright, we have cliche, a saying or idea that has been used so often that it becomes boring or loses its original meaning. So, example, happily ever after. The customer is always right at the end of the day. So, yung parang gas-gas ng mga expressions. Okay? And let's move on to question number 10. Only the heart can see rightly is borrowed from what particular novel? A. To Kill the Mockingbird. B. Pride and Prejudice. C. The Little Prince. Or D. Frankenstein. Please choose the right answer. Okay, so the right answer is letter C. The Little Prince. So, here's the challenge to read the name of the author. So I had to search it on Google kung anong pangalan nung or how to pronounce excuse me. Sorry about that. How to pronounce the name of the author. So as I checked, it is Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Maybe you can say that better than I can. But the point is, only the heart can see rightly is borrowed from this particular novel. Now, excuse me, letter A cannot be the answer because this novel, this novel's popular quote is, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside of his skin and walk around in it." So we should not be judgmental. And this was said by Atticus Finch, one of the characters in this novel. And this novel was written by Harper Lee. Next, Pride and Prejudice. So one of the popular quotes from this novel was, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife." And that was said by the author herself. And letter D cannot be the answer because the popular quote for this novel is, "There is something at work in my soul which I do not understand." And that was said by one of the characters, Robert Walton. So that's it for today. I hope that you learned a lot from our short drill, although we only had 10 items. I believe that you were able to cover a lot. So even now, congratulations, future top notchers and licensed professional teachers. So I would like to share with you what the Lord reminded me of before I took the exam. The great victory of faith is to stand before some impassable Red Sea and hear the Master say, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord and go forward." So, may Red Sea in front of you, where you can pass through it by the grace of God and with God. So, go and conquer your Red Sea, future top notchers, and LPTs. See you. Thank you. Goodbye. And if you like this video, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Bye.